Давайте перепечок, и сегодня мы будем смотреть реакцию на трейлер игры outcast 2. Поехали. Сегодня будет сюрприз.
Ever since the ancients left us, and as far as the moons remember, Adельfe has been under a talan's care. We are the keepers of all Yod's creations. We are home. Renounce false prophecies and give faith to our makers. If the Yods can't save us, no one will.
Вау. Круто. Я в шоке. Так, идем дальше. Это у нас графический трейлер, графический сейчас.
This is my home. My planet. Adельfe. Ever since I was a girl, I wanted to become a Dolotai guardian. To protect Adельfe. And all its creatures, big and small, virtuous and vicious. To defend against those who want to exploit its beauty. And destroy it. But now, we face our greatest threat. We need all the help we can get.
Kаттер Slade, your friendly neighborhood invader slayer. Different planet, same problems.
Прикольно. Прикольная боевка. Скажу. Что просто ПП. Так, поговорим.
Hi, my name is Pablo Cova.
And I'm Arno van den Branden.
I'm the game director of Outcast 2 here at Apple Studio in Charleroi, just next to Brussels in Belgium.
I'm also working on Outcast 2 as a technical game designer.
Before I worked on Outcast 2, I was working on smaller games and even had my own indie games as a solo developer. I remember it was in January 1st, 2019, that Yves Grelet asked me if I was interested in working on Outcast 2. I had never played Outcast before that, and the job interview was already a couple of days later, so the first thing I did was to download and play the game. And I immediately fell in love with Adельфа, the talent culture, and basically everything about Outcast universe. So when Yves asked me if I played Outcast, I was really happy to answer. Of course I played it. I just finished it this morning, so I couldn't be fresh on my head. And that's how I joined the team.
I have a programming background, but I also really like exploration and world building. So when I was offered the opportunity to work on the systemic design of Adельфа, it couldn't have been a better fit for me. When I first played Outcast 1, I immediately understood its appeal. The open world, player freedom, the uniqueness of the world, and just the beautiful soundtrack all really came together to create a very compelling experience. I hope that players will find that in Outcast 2 and that and much more.
In 1999, Outcast was one of the first non-linear open-world games. For Outcast 2, we take the same route while pushing non-linearity even further.
One of the things we had to tackle was keeping the world completely open for the player to do whatever they want, whilst also making sure that they never feel lost or without purpose. To solve that, we've implemented several systems that are all aimed towards making sure that the player can easily decide where they want to go and what impact they will have on the world.
We're working hard on developing systems to guide the player, but also allow them to have fun and play around with. Our protagonist, Kаттер Slейд, has a lot of gears. He has a jetpack, weapon modules that he can combine, and a shield. Bringing all of this together and making it fun for the player is our biggest challenge in game design.
There will be a mix of familiar things, like finding items in the world and upgrading your skills and weapons, but also new stuff, like an interactive map that we're working on. The player can zoom in and out to get detailed information on quests, challenges, the story of a specific area. And this is something we're really excited about, and we hope that players will love it too. As a designer, I just want to see the players having a good time, whether it's because of the fast-paced combat, open-world exploration, or the expansive story. Seeing players get excited and surprised by what they find is really why I'm into this.
Thank you so much for watching. Outcast 2 will be out soon on PC, PS5 and Xbox Series. Au revoir, à bientôt.
See you next time.
Вот это да. Вот это шутка. Ладно, идем дальше. Кстати, сегодня будет сюрприз. Так.
Hello, I'm Michael Defoyer.
And I'm Rafael Villegas.
I'm the art director of Outcast 2 here at Apple Studios in Charleroi.
And I'm also working on Outcast 2 as a senior concept artist.
I was part of the original team behind Outcast, but also in the first version of Outcast 2 20 years ago. So it's absolutely amazing to come back to it after all these years.
When I was a kid, I used to play this game with my father. I remember at that time we had never seen a game so beautiful. We even had to buy a new computer to run it smoothly.
I think the main thing I can bring to the project is to push and develop the creative aspects as an art director, of course, but also to ensure the continuity of the initial spirit of Outcast through its original universe, specific and beautiful places, and the richness of the talent culture.
I am a kind of jack of all trades, since I like to create characters as well as environment. And on Outcast 2, have plenty of opportunity to create that kind of content.
We want to stay true to the first game. So we started by taking everything that was part of Outcast heritage, like the old concepts that were made, the documents, the research, well, everything we previously developed.
We started by defining the broad visual intentions before to being able to detail each of the individual elements like the fauna or the flora. But the world of Outcast 2 is not only about its exotic alien world. It is above the stories of people with a very rich and unique cultures. When all of this is well absorbed, I'm starting to create visual direction, and I imagine some stories to implement them, to justify them into the universe of Outcast.
In this adventure, the players will go through several villages, which we wanted to be very different from each other's, by their function, such as breeding and crops, but also their geographical location, or the particular climate of each region. It is in these villages that we can best show the different aspects of the talent cultures, through various objects related to a specific function, like the trait here in this image. The allegiance is another very important aspect of the talent cultures, visible in most of the villages, but also in many places that we will discover throughout the game.
Well, Outcast is really an important part of my career. It's the ideal project for me actually, both as a developer, with all the possibilities from a creative point of view, of course, but also as a gamer, being a fan of adventure actions and exploration games.
I particularly like open world for the way they transport you, for the way they give you the feeling of discovering without having to move from home. And that's exactly the way we work on the game to give that feeling for the different players.
Thank you so much for watching. Outcast will be out soon on PC, PS5 and Xbox Series.
We hope the players will like these games and we like to play this game as much as we do.
Au revoir, à bientôt.
Au revoir, à bientôt. Salut.
Вау, то есть графика шикарная. Жду. Двигаем дальше. Понятно, застроились. Это застроились по указу сделал. О! Точно. Остался один ролик по Outcast 2 и сделать убийство. Через минут.
Hey, my name is Cyril Wagner. I'm the technical director for Apple Studios.
Hey, I'm Leah Etz. I'm working at Apple Studio as a tools and systems programmer.
When joining the game industry 20 years ago, I remember spending nights totally immersed in the world of Adельфа in Outcast 1. There, this magic moment as a gamer when you completely lose yourself in an imaginary world and an alien civilization. I still remember my first steps in Apple Studios, filled with artwork of Outcast and meeting the team behind the game.
The first time I heard about Outcasts was during my studies, because some of my teachers were from the original team, so I was quite excited when I started working on the new entry of the franchise. What I really like about Outcasts is the diversity of the environments and the lush alien flora all over the world. I focus mainly on developing underlying systems and populating the villages.
It's a dream come true for me to work again on this Outcast license 20 years later. My main role is to make sure that the game is technologically sound and runs the big world of Adельфа smoothly. I'm also passionate about developing character behaviors.
One of the biggest challenges was to avoid that the world feels too empty. Our solution was to provide tools to the designer so they can populate the world with fauna, flora, inhabitants, and gameplay.
We need to constantly stream the world in the background to make it easier for the player to explore. We also learned to get better metrics to provide more precise asset production guidelines to the team.
There are around 60 different characters based on 5 different morphologies. They have their own animations, clothes with custom physics, and a set of body and facial moods for dialogues.
We developed different techniques to optimize the performance to display a crowd of animated characters and creatures. A color optimizer adjusts the simulation of characters and creatures based on their importance on screen. What it does, essentially, is simplifying character models and animation in the distance. It also adjusts the update frequency and simplifies their movement and behavior. Unreal already does a lot for you, but at some point, you need to dive deeper and optimize many engine parts.
An important part of Outcast 2 are all the unique villages that are inhabited by a variety of talents who share a rich culture. Villagers have different sets of costumes, personalities, and their own unique reaction when they meet Kаттер. What was important for us to show in the villages is that Kаттер has an impact on the talents and the environments. The quests that you complete will influence the dynamic of the villages, how the talents are living, and how they are responding to Kаттер.
Talents perform meaningful activities and interact closely with their environment. For example, while performing daily routines, they can still have a look at some interesting spots and show different attitudes and reactions when encountering the player. They can also trigger some joint actions, like chatting and inviting other talents to participate. If they are interrupted by the player, they just go back to their daily routines.
The overall goal is to show the world is changing and how talents' habits are evolving.
Naturally, people project those great memories they had about Outcast back in 1999 to today's game standards. Meeting those expectations today gets even more challenging. While developing this project, the team was full of additional ideas and ambitions to expand all aspects that made Outcast a great license to play and to work on. This is just a new beginning for the game franchise.
Thank you so much for watching. Outcast 2 will be out soon on PC, PS5 and Xbox Series. Bye!
See you next time!
Ну как вы застрял? Ну, короче, наложил. А тебе, сука, кто я мечтал? Тогда не ожидает коллаборация Assassin's Creed Pack Mobile. Смотрим. Офигеть! Вот это да! Ну, конечно, меня порадовали. Я в шоке. Ну ладно, всем пока. Увидимся. Следующая наша реакция будет на игру Закалист протокол. Всем пока. Ну или Prince of Persia SSS All Time Remake. Или Prince Песни времени. Не знаю, напишите в комментариях, что вы хотите сначала. Закалист протокол или Prince Песни времени. Ремейк. Напишите в комментариях, я обязательно напишу. Всем пока. Увидимся.